call to order the regular meeting of the Lompoc City Council for Tuesday, February 6th, 2024. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Starbuck.
Present.
Councilmember Ball.
Present.
Councilmember Vega.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilda Cordova.
Here.
Mayor Janelle Osborne.
Here. Due to a joint meeting that we had earlier, our closed session will be moved to the end of the meeting, which is why you don't see a report out happening at the moment. But we will move on with the rest of the agenda, and so I invite you to join me for the invocation from Pastor Bernie Fetterman, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Dear God, we pause at this moment to acknowledge you, to invite your presence into this meeting, and to remind us that you are wise, capable, powerful, certainly more grace-filled and loving than any of us. Your character and abilities to serve remind us to live with a proper perspective that you are God and we are not. This perspective allows us to live with a proper dependency upon you. As it says upon our city, in God we trust. We trust in you above all else. We thank you, God, for our city and the progress we see in so many areas, your favor upon us, the advancement with our young people, our youth. And while there's still much work to be done, we pray that you provide the financial resources, the people, and above all, the unity of heart to keep moving forward for the good of our city and its citizens, and not grow weary in doing well. We thank you for this council, our mayor, our city manager, our city staff, our first responders, our teachers, our hospital staff, and all those who work together to make Lompoc a place that we call home, a wonderful city. Thank you for the protection in our recent storms, and for how our police and our fire, our electrical workers, our city street crews, and many more responded to calls for service in the cold, windy, and rainy days. And thank you for those who add value to our community, to their neighbors, and serve from their hearts. And while I pray, Lord God, for all the great things, I also ask you for those who desire to commit evil and hateful and criminal acts, that they would be uncovered and come to terms with their actions. We pray for wisdom and strength, for courage to do what is right and good for the future of our city and our citizens. May we put our interests beneath others' interests, and ultimately beneath your interests. And may we act with love for the common good. And God, I pray that you continue to bless us, sustain us, have your light shine upon us, be gracious unto us, and give us your peace. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first presentation we'll have tonight is from our Fire Department's Battalion Chief Cody Lee, providing an update on the Office of Traffic Safety Grant for extrication tools. And it's actually our chief here as well. I'm just going
to introduce him.
Oh, okay. Well, Chief Fallon here to introduce Battalion Chief.
He's worthy of a good introduction. So.
All right.
I just want to give you some really quick information. I'm going to hand it over to Chief Lee. But so over the last 12 months, we've had the opportunity to acquire over $110,000 worth of grant funding. And this is one of those items that Chief Lee is going to share with you here in just a moment. But I just wanted to cover a couple of things here. So our OTS grant that Chief Lee is going to be talking about tonight was to the amount of $75,000 for the battery-powered extrication equipment that we're going to demonstrate here in a moment. We also had an opportunity to acquire $23,000 from the California Fire Foundation. That funding went to the replacement, really the overhaul of all of our wildland personal protective equipment. And then from 1805, we acquired $10,000, and that was for inclement weather gear and a new 5-gas monitor. So I wanted to introduce him to thank him because there's a lot of work that goes into these grants and a lot of research and a lot of data, calls and emails that need to go out to make sure that these things go through. So I did want to recognize him and our our staff also for the work that they put into this, and I'll hand the podium over to Cody.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Chief. So like Chief Fallon said, we got a grant for $75,000 from the Office of Traffic Safety. And guys, why don't you just bring the equipment up so people can see it? It was for what we consider a full complement of extrication tools. So a full complement of extrication tools will outfit one engine with 4 separate tools and a number of batteries, 12 batteries, chargers, and things. And this is really our bread and butter when we're doing auto extrication or any type of extrication. Each tool is used for something separate. The one in the middle, here, Greg, you want to just point to it? The one in the middle is the ram. The ram is used for pushing a dash forward. If you have the dash come towards you or the steering wheel is kind of pinning you in, we can use that to push that away. The far one on the far end is our cutters. Those are used for cutting. So like in between the door, kind of where your seatbelt is, if we need to cut that post, we call them the pillars. We can cut those. That tool will cut pretty much through anything. It has a cutting strength of over 300,000 pounds, so it basically just goes through anything. And then the other 2 are basically used for spreading, so they can spread apart doors and things. As you know, when people get into accidents and they're trapped, a lot of times these vehicles are pretty mangled and kind of have a lot of different challenges. And these 4 tools allow us to basically get through anything. The cool part about these 4 tools is they are battery operated. We used to have a big power unit with hydraulic hoses that would go to the tools, and we no longer have that. Really the key is getting people to the hospital within an hour. They call it the golden hour. And here in Lompoc, if we have somebody that's involved in a major vehicle accident and they have a major trauma, they're going to be more than likely taking a helicopter flight either to Marion or Cottage Hospital. And that time frame takes a little while. It takes 20 minutes to get the helicopter here, probably 10 minutes to get them in, and another 10 to 15 to get them there. So it really closes that window, and these tools will really help us with getting people disentangled, getting them out, getting them into the ambulance, getting them to the hospital, or getting them to the helicopter and then getting them to the hospital. We'll go through a little bit. Go ahead, Dave. No, you'll stand up here for a minute. So Office of Traffic Safety grant awarded $75,000. It's going to replace some older kind of antiquated stuff that we had. We did have some stuff that was pretty old, 26 years old. This is our new equipment. We're getting new mounts for it too, so it's all stored really well in our engine to kind of prolong that life. And we have a lot of batteries too. That, some people think, oh, it's battery operated. What happens if the battery runs out? The battery lasts all day. You can pretty much use one tool all day, and then we also have 2 backup batteries for each tool, so you never are going to run out of battery power. And just kind of the end part, how much are these tools getting used? This just gives you an idea of how many vehicle accidents, how many crashes the department went to, and then how many victims that we had in each crash, and then the number of fatalities. And that includes in Lompoc and then the surrounding areas, because we do run automatic aid and mutual aid within the county, because we're going to obviously be the closer resource and we want to get somebody there as soon as possible. So we'll respond to incidents in the county just like the county will respond into the city sometimes. I do very much want to thank, like Chief said, this is a group effort. We have our battalion chief in the back, Kevin Shea. He does a lot of our records management and data, and he's the one that's able to produce a lot of this data. And then the police department, Nolan Jones in the police department, also helps me with collecting a lot of this data, because like the fire department collects this data, so does PD. And then when we apply for these grants, when all of our numbers are in alignment, they really like to see that, because it paints a good picture of how much we would actually utilize these tools. And the end goal is to keep the citizens safe. And that's really what we're doing here, is trying to shorten our extrication time so that we can get people to the hospital sooner. And yeah, that's really it. Good?
Hey,
Thank you.
Mayor, can I ask a request? First, I want to say thank you. I've been trying to find money for this. I was so excited when he found this. I was like, oh my God, that's so great. But can we take like a 3 or 5 minute break and have you guys check them out and maybe you guys
You guys
can
want to
talk
come
to
up? The
them,
guys will operate the tools. They can open them up and kind of show you. It's really easy.
cut some things?
Open them up.
Uh,
Don't cut the table, just,
I'll say 10 minutes, because by the time we get off this dais and start playing with tools, it probably will take us 10 minutes. So stay tuned, you can watch. If I do 15, you're never coming back. I know you, you'll leave. So let's not turn off the cameras so that those at home can see and watch interactions. But yes, love to come down and see the tools, so. come on.
guys, just grab one. Just start, open them up, close them.
y'all. After all that excitement, it's really great to be able to introduce the next group. So Future for Lompoc Youth is here to present to us as the community their experience from the California Freedom Summer Fellows, as well as ask us to give them feedback. So I'm going to invite you guys to come up. The podium is yours, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. So here is Future for Lompoc Youth.
Good afternoon, esteemed City Council members. We are Youth Research Fellows conducting the Thriving Youth Survey in collaboration with UCLA Chicano Studies Research Center. California Freedom Summer is a youth program that was brought to Lompoc for the first time in the summer of 2022, when Future for Lompoc Youth partnered with UCLA Chicano Studies Research Center and Allen Hancock College. During the first year of the program, we were able to host the Lompoc 2022 Youth Conference, which focused on civic engagement, voter education, and registration.
During the 2023 California Freedom Summers program, we hosted our second conference, which was dedicated to leadership skills, financial aid, and A3G requirements. We strive on bringing community together, especially our youth.
So what have we accomplished? We became certified through the Collaborative Institutional Training Initiative to gather basic data on the community, and we completed an 8-week research-based Allen Hancock course taught by a UCLA professor. And we also got the opportunity to interview officials such as Mayor Janelle Osborne, Superintendent Dr. Clara Finneran, and District Supervisor Joanne Hartman.
Our survey's purpose is to conduct research that makes a difference in our community. With the responses we collect from the survey, we aim to inform various programs targeting young adults in the Central Coast, and we hope to create a push for youth resource centers in our community. With that being said, our goal is to collect 1,000 surveys from the City of Lompoc by March 31st, 2024.
Our survey aims to gather community input on issues regarding education, employment, health, household, and family background. We hope to collect responses from Lompoc residents aged 18 to 34. These responses are confidential and will be analyzed by Chicano Studies Research Center at UCLA.
This survey will be beneficial as it will bring attention and public support for new youth programs, school bonds, and utilizing cannabis industry tax revenue towards youth programs. Our survey mentions the need for new programs and recreation places for our youth to spend. It's also recognized the need for school bonds as our schools are about 60 years old and haven't been upgraded in over 20 years.
You can help by telling friends, family, and coworkers who are in our targeted age range. The more responses we get, the more effective our survey can be. You can also attend our tabling events, as we will be tabling every Friday at Food Truck Friday, and also following our social media account on Instagram at Lompoc TYS to stay up to date on future outreaching events.
We need around $500 to $600 million to update school facilities to be on par with surrounding schools in the county. So the school bond will contribute to the funding of school updates. Funding will go to upgrade, replace, and refurbish our schools, including heating, ventilation, cooling, and plumbing, turning portable classrooms into permanent classrooms, and upgrading plus modernizing all classrooms to be safer and cleaner. The goal of the school bond is to improve student conditions and increase student engagement and experience at school. Overall, our goal and purpose is to conduct research to create youth resource centers in town by collecting 1,000 surveys. We are also informing voters on the school bond, which will help update and modernize school facilities in the Lompoc Unified School District. The survey is aimed at 18 through 34-year-olds from the City of Lompoc. Ultimately, we hope to create awareness about community issues to encourage citizens to exercise their right to vote. Thank you, and we'd also like to open the floor to questions, if you have any.
Does anyone have any questions? Well, I do. I want to know each of your names. So if you could at least come back to the microphone and introduce yourselves so the community knows who each of you are, that would be really helpful. So just make a quick circle back, pass the microphone, and introduce yourselves.
My name is Evawani Martinson, and I'm currently a senior at Lompoc High School.
My name is Carla Rodriguez Munoz, and I'm also a senior at Lompoc High School.
I'm Cara Martinez, and I'm currently a first year at Allen Hancock College.
I'm Josue Robles, and I'm currently a junior at Lompoc High School.
I'm Jenilyn Belrose, and I'm a senior at Lompoc High School.
I'm Alexa Noriega. I'm a senior at Lompoc High School.
I'm Fernanda Araujo. I'm a first year at Allen Hancock.
I'm Rowan Canfield. I'm also a first year at Allen Hancock.
Awesome. I just wanted our community to recognize you and know that many of you that are in your first year at Hancock were former students here in Lompoc, and show that the future program is really opening doors for you guys. Is it okay if we post this on our social media page so that we can encourage people to contact you and take the survey?
Yes, that's fine.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. I hope that you get the survey answers that you need, and don't hesitate to come back and share the results. Oh, Councilmember Ball.
Oh, real quick, I just want to say thank you guys for all coming and presenting. You guys did an amazing job. This is the first time that I felt a little bit old, I have to be honest, because I won't qualify for this because I'm well past the age group, but thank you for doing that. I'm going to tell everyone that I know that's between 18 and 34 to participate, because this data really does matter, and maybe it can lead to some change in our hometown. So thank you again for pushing on this.
All right. Thank you again. Good luck, and don't hesitate to come back and share the results with us.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Mr. Albro, City Manager's Report.
I'd like to say that I graduated from Lompoc High School, went to Allen Hancock College, and future is anything you want. Well, I'd like to thank Cody first for bringing the fire stuff in. Like I said, we've been looking for that money for those tools, and it's really awesome to see that. I also wanted to thank everybody who is on our city crews that did an amazing job during this storm event. Urban Forestry and the street funds, cleaning up the roadways. It's really nice to see. I also want to thank the electric. We had about 280 customers that were out, and they were on it, and they got them back up and running in about an hour, so it was really good to see. I also wanted to recognize somebody who's done a really good job at Prop 68 grant. That's Kristen Worthley, our Senior Administrative Analyst. She got $5.5 million from the California Department of Water Resource, awarded to the San Ynez River Valley Groundwater Sustainable Agencies. They're going to do a ceremony at February 8th at 11:30 at Riverview Park in Buellton. And there's a lot of things that go into that grant. One is the measurement and reporting programs, rate studies, funding doing annual reports, expanding and improving monitoring of our groundwater sustainability, designing stormwater capture and infiltration projects, and developing water use and efficiency plans for the basin, and also recycling water. I mean, I think that's super awesome. I like to see that it's contagious, that a lot of our staff are doing grants, and it really makes a big difference in our community. I also wanted to take a, excuse me, a moment to let everybody know that the youth in government, especially the students here that are here from Future, it's a great opportunity for you to learn how the city runs. We are extending that application to June 20th for the Youth in Government program. Oh, that's what I say, February? February is what I meant to say. Sorry. Also wanted to let everybody know that the Lompoc Library, along with the Parks and Rec, invite you to come out to Beatty Park and check out the permanent story boards that are up. They'll be doing a ceremony there at 2:30 to 4 on Friday, February 16th. I also wanted to let everybody know that we have a new digital newsletter Lompoc lately. We utilized this during our storm, and we were able to push out information much quicker, much easier, and keep everyone in the city informed. So I encourage you to go there and check the boxes, and you get news updates and articles and alerts. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any questions? All right, seeing none, we will move on to consent calendar. Before we go to public comment, I know we have an announcement by our HR director on items 8 and 10.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Items number 8 and 10 are amendments to the compensation plan for the city manager, managerial, supervisory, and confidential safety employees, both sworn and non-sworn. And it provides compensation and benefits for those city employees at the levels listed in the staff report and the attachments. The recommendation in the staff report is to adopt. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And now we'll go to public comment before the recusal. Okay, so if you would like to speak on items 1 through 10, you may come to the podium and speak. You have 3 minutes for consent calendar items 1 through 10.
Madam Mayor, council representatives, so item number 1, it says that the Lompoc Police Department is getting a grant. I do not see what that grant is for, what the money would be used for, and maybe the public would like some clarification on what those funds would be used for. And item number 5, maybe a little bit more detail on the fees and what it entails to get these permits for recreational vehicles to be parked on the street and what the process is. So kind of clear up a few things for the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Seeing no one else rise, we will close public comment on consent calendar. Does anybody have any item they'd like to pull, or Councilmember Starbuck?
I will be recusing from voting on item 4.
Thank you for that. Councilmember Ball.
Let's see. I don't think I necessarily want to pull it, but I was hoping that I might get some clarity on kind of what the gist of number 9 is about.
Number 9. Mr. Garcia, would you be able to answer that?
I promise no trick questions.
That's
Just give me
okay.
clarity what this is about.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mayor, members of the council, item number 9 is to provide additional health benefit contributions to the IFF group, which is the fire group. So it's to pick up the additional increase that happened in January.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I don't have any other questions.
All right. If there are no other questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Yes.
before a motion is made, I also wanted to note that item number 10, City Manager Dean Albro will be recusing himself as acting as the city manager for that item because he has a conflict on that item as well.
Thank you very much. All right. Did I see Councilmember Vega light up, or was that a?
Yeah, I was going to make a motion to accept consent calendar.
Awesome.
With any exceptions that might have to be announced.
Have already been announced, so you can
Thank you.
just make a recommendation for consent. All right. Councilmember Cordova?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded with noticed recusals, so all may vote. And that passes 5-0. All right. We have no staff presentations. Now is your opportunity for oral communications on items not on the agenda within the city's purvey. So if you would like to come to the microphone, you may do so at this time. The number to call in if you'd like to provide oral communications is 805-875-8201, 875-8201.
Hi. The Santa Barbara County Supervisors recently passed a resolution commending Israel for their efforts for peace. There's 12,000 deaths into this genocide, so I wanted to address that. And the point I'd like to address basically is Israel as a victim, where we have all been led to believe that they're just trying, a tiny nation trying to have peace and just being attacked by a bunch of crazy Arabs. So I want to share this information. The Jews that were persecuted in Europe could have come to Palestine and lived among the indigenous Muslims, Christians, and Jews peacefully, as they had been doing for centuries. Instead, they came with a European colonial settler mission to take all of the land of Palestine and expel or kill the natives if they wouldn't go. We're seeing it now in Gaza. I'll show you some quotes. In 1895, Australian-Hungarian lawyer Theodor Herzl, the founder of Zionism, wrote, "Zionist settlers must," quote, "spirit the native population across the border with the process of expropriation, and the removal of the poor must be carried out discreetly." I have the quotes that, there they are. Well, I don't think you can see them anyway. David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister and leader from the 1920s to 1965, indiscreetly led what the UN deemed Israeli, quote, terror squads committing massacres and mass rapes in 500 Palestinian towns and cities. A quote from Ben-Gurion, 1937, quote, "The Arabs will have to go, but one needs an opportune moment for making it happen, such as a war." 1938, quote, "Let us not ignore the truth among ourselves. We are the aggressors and they defend themselves. The country is theirs because they inhabit it, whereas we want to come here and settle down." The two-state solution has always been a sham. All Israeli leaders from Ben-Gurion to Netanyahu have championed expanding to all of Palestine. So if we could see the map. Thank you. In the first box, in 1976, Jews owned 6% of the land. That's the yellow part. The second box shows in yellow what the UN voted to give Israel. Jews owned 6%, but they got 55%. But even while the UN was voting on the partition plan, Israel terror squads were committing massacres and rapes, driving out Palestinians from their area and taking over more territory. This left Palestinians the green 22% and the Israelis 78%. In 1967, Israel occupied even that 22%, fencing in all the Palestinians, building settlements.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Shreve. I live on the east side over here in the Eleanor School. My concern is for public safety. As some of you may or may not know, there are several intersections on that side of the city. There are four-way intersections. There are no stop signs on either side of the street. This causes a danger to motorists, and it also causes a danger to your children walking back and forth to school in the morning and in the afternoon. No one stops either way. They don't have to. There's no stop signs. There's no crosswalks. I appeal to all of you who have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren who may be attending those schools, or maybe who may be just walking in that area in the night, walking your dog, or just driving up and down the street. There's no stop signs. People blast through those intersections, and it causes a danger not only to you, to motorists, but also to your children. I would like you to recognize those facts and implement stop signs at those intersections. Also, there are no crosswalks marked. And also, coming out of the alleyways, onto the normal streets. There's no stop signs to prevent cars from just blasting out onto the street in front of everybody else. This is a danger. This is a real danger. I have a 3-year-old grandson, great-grandson, who goes to school at Eleanor School. I would hate to think that on his way to school, someday someone could come out of one of those alleyways or come blasting across one of those streets and kill him. I'm sure some of you also would feel the same way if your children were in danger, or if you were in danger, if you were out at night walking your dog down the street and wanted to cross the street, and a car came blasting through. You know, sometimes there are people who drink, some people who are on drugs. They don't normally, slow down when they come to those intersections. They just blast right through them. This is a great danger, and I would hope that the city would take time and implement stop signs and crosswalks at these intersections for our public safety.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Osborne, to the council members. I'm Pastor Ron Wiley of Lompoc. I've been a member of Lompoc, the city of Lompoc, for 40 years. And when they first discussed the cannabis store opening adjacent to our church, and for other reasons, we objected. One of the selling points, as I remember, was that the revenues from the cannabis stores were supposed to be going back into our community. And I asked this question about a year ago, and I didn't get a response. I haven't seen that money. Now, tonight, the fire department did come demonstrating some new equipment, so perhaps that's part of it. But I really would like to know where the massive revenue from the cannabis stores, where it's going, and an explanation, not itemized necessarily, but is it to the fire department, to the police department, the roads and grounds, to the recreation centers, or something to that degree? I really would appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Nick Nikolenko, resident of Lompoc. Madam Mayor, council members. So Friday and Saturday, both days, there was public deaths within our community. One was in the riverbed. One was within the community, right in an alleyway, right outside of a house. One of those deaths was family to my wife. My wife's family has lost several people to these overdoses, to these drugs that are within our community, and it's not cannabis that is killing people within our community. It might be cannabis laced with something, but it is not the legal cannabis that people are getting from dispensaries. And there need to be some answers. There need to be some solutions within our community. We are losing way too many young people in this community. Teenagers, young adults, grandparents even, people in their 50s, people all ages. We are losing them. Some of them don't even know what they are taking because fentanyl is being put into just about everything these days. They think they're taking one thing and it has fentanyl in it and they die. There was a 15-year-old girl who she was passed a joint at the skate park that had fentanyl in it. She died. we need to get tough on what's happening in our community. We need to get tough on these houses where there are known drug addicts, known drug trafficking, known drug transactions happening for years. Not just, okay, it just started. No, it has been happening for years in the neighborhoods you would never suspect something like this happening. South Side neighborhoods, up by Beatty Park, quiet neighborhoods that you would never see any of this happening, yet it is. So before it takes somebody who is connected to one of you sitting up here, we need to get real on the solutions of what's bringing this into our community, and we need to put a stop to it and close down these houses that are operating as safe havens for it. Thank you.
All right, seeing no one else rise, we will close oral communications and bring it back to the agenda. Next on the agenda is appointments. We have an application for the Youth Commission. Daniela Balderas has applied to be a part of the Youth Commission. She does qualify for the youth term, and that would end in January of 2025. So I would entertain a motion. Councilmember Cordova.
I will motion to grant Daniela Balderas the opportunity to serve as Youth Commissioner for the term ending in January of 2025.
Thank you. Councilmember Ball.
I'd second that.
And it's seconded. Let's vote. And that passes 5-0. For the public and anyone watching, there is a list of vacancies available on the city website. Just go to committees and commissions. It's been updated as of February 2nd. There are positions available on the Airport Commission, the Beautification Commission, the Human Services Commission, the Planning Commission, the Public Safety Commission, the Utility Commission, and the Youth Commission. Some of them are based on at-large. Some are assigned to represent the different council members or mayor, and it indicates on that list. If you're interested in serving, please submit an application, reach out to any of us. We're happy to sit down and talk with you about these positions and the volunteer work involved. Earlier this evening was supposed to be a joint meeting with our Airport Commission. Unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum, so it wasn't official, but it is volunteers like them that help improve our city facilities and our community by participating and being extra eyes and ears and advocating on your behalf, so don't hesitate to volunteer for that. All right. Did we have any written communications this evening, Madam Clerk?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. We're going to do council comments and meeting reports before we go to our closed session. So, Councilmember Ball, anything to report?
No, I just wanted to say that I'm glad we're all still relatively dry after crazy storms, and I just wanted to celebrate our electric department. Proud of them. Our power went off. We were prepared. We had all the water, had all the supplies, ready to hunker down, and the power came back on in like 17 seconds. Happened twice. So, Lompoc Power, thank you very much for keeping the lights on for a lot of people who need it. Appreciate it.
Councilmember Starbuck.
No reports.
All right, Councilmember Cordova.
No reports.
Councilmember Vega.
Just one thing, I'd like to remind everybody, just drive safe, be aware of your surroundings. I see a lot of people, there's a lot of water, there's a lot of things that need to be repaired in the roads right now. As we heard about, if it was your kids out there on the road, you'd want to be safe, so just be aware, okay? Sometimes I think we forget, and we may have excessive speed trying to get somewhere, but somebody could be in the way, so be careful. Thank you.
I attended the REACH Regional Action Summit on behalf of the city and several of our city staff, so I want to thank them for going. The regular meeting for the Santa Barbara County Area of Governments, the City Selection Committee, which is all the mayors in the county, met to vote in a member of LAFCO and an alternate. I am now serving as the alternate. Also met with the local human trafficking task force contractors to better understand the work they're doing in our community and the partnerships they're having. Future for Lompoc Youth, some of the members were here tonight. They came, they toured the police department. I want to thank the police department for that support. And they met with our HR director, and then they sat here in the council chambers and asked me really important questions about the community, and had some amazing insights. So I want to thank all of those young people for getting involved and voicing concerns. The point in time count happened, and I participated in that. Councilmember Cordova joined me at Hapgood when United Way had a literacy evening, and we read to the students. I read in English, and Councilmember Cordova read in Spanish, and it was really great to witness what Hapgood is doing in its bilingual program and the support it's giving to residents in the community to really help them connect with services and skill sets. Vandenberg Space Force Base had their fourth quarter awards, as well as they stood up a combined force space command. It had been there, but they had a restructure, and that event happened, and I attended representing the city on that. I attended the local area formation committee that I serve on, as well as had a tour with some of our electrical division's staff of the Diablo Canyon. It is the nuclear power plant that provides literally 10% of all of our electrical power for the entire state, and they have an opportunity to renew their permit and stay online for at minimum 5 years, 20 years with the national permit they're going for. So it was really important to go out and understand that facility. It is quite amazing how safe it actually is, to see the management of the wildlife around it, to know that itself is very well structured for earthquakes and tsunamis. So unlike some of the history we've seen, Diablo is quite safe, and we are still very dependent on it. So I appreciate PG&E offering us the ability to tour that, given, as Councilmember Ball mentioned, we're our own power. And so we aren't dependent on the power generated out of Diablo directly, but the fact that it contributes nearly 10% of our electrical power to the entire grid, it's really important to make sure we can keep the lights on. The only community event that I want to reiterate before we go to closed session is the Total Teen Conference put on by our Youth Commission and the City of Lompoc's Parks and Rec Department is on February 12th. There was a cost, but now the Lompoc Unified School District has covered the cost of any student or youth that wants to attend. So if you would like to attend on February 12th, starting at 8:30 is check-in. Pre-registration is preferred, so they have enough food, but you're welcome to attend and your costs will be covered, and we want to thank LUSD for sponsoring that. So we will now adjourn to closed session. Closed session has 2 items. We are pulling item number 1 by staff. Item number 2 is public employee discipline, dismissal, and release. And number 3, which is still on the agenda, is conference with real property negotiators regarding the 82 acres at Ken Adam. If you would like to speak on any of these items, now is the time for oral communications on closed session. So you may come to the podium for your 3 minutes, or you may call in at 805-875-8201. Again, this will be for oral communication on closed session. Seeing no one rise and no one call in, we will, if you're going to speak, you need to come to the microphone.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a problem with the cannabis dispensaries. Some of you may know that when you were young, when I was 18 and below the age of drinking, that I would have somebody go into liquor stores and buy liquor for me. This also is true of like the cannabis stores. There are children who are below the age of 18 who also have people go into the cannabis stores and buy drugs for them. I would like to see that those people who were caught doing things like that are prosecuted to the fullest extent for providing those things to our younger children who are really not of an age to decide or of an age to whether or not they can handle those kind of things. Becomes a danger to them. You have 15, 16, 13-year-olds walking around on edibles and marijuana who are not capable of handling those drugs like we weren't actually capable of handling alcohol when we were 15 or 16 or 18 years old either. If this city would put stricter prosecutions on the people that provide our children with those drugs, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, just as a reminder to the audience and the public, we do appreciate the speaker's comments, but this particular part of the agenda is supposed to be limited to public comments only on the closed session items.
Thank you for that reminder. So seeing no one call in and no one rise on closed session oral communication, we will close that. Staff has predicted an hour to an hour and a half. We will return from closed session to open session and report out from that. So if you'd like to stay, you're welcome to stay, and we will be back out when we are done with closed session. We will now reconvene open session for the Lompoc City Council of February 6th, 2024. Mr. Malave, do you have any reportable action from closed session?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor. The City Council had 3 items on the closed session agenda. Number 1, the labor negotiations item was not heard or discussed. Number 2 was a public employee discipline dismissal release item. There's a reportable action on that item. The City Council, by a unanimous vote, accepted the recommendation of the hearing officer to uphold the dismissal of a police officer employee. And item number 3 was a real property negotiation item regarding 82 acres, including an adjacent to Ken Adam Park. Council had a discussion with staff and gave direction to staff on that item, but there's no reportable action.
Thank you. With that, we will adjourn the Lompoc City Council to the next regular meeting at 6:30 p.m. on February 20th, 2024.